shocking truth, little girl's last plea for help until the millionaire arrived at midnight. The clock struck 12 as the mansion loomed over the quiet street like a predator waiting in the shadows. Windows flickered with a ghostly light, sending whispers into the night, each crackle of static more haunting than the last. And inside, nestled among opulent satin and gold, a little girl knelt on the plush carpet, clutching a faded stuffed bear, its button eyes reflecting her desperation. She was alone, but the air buzzed with secrets, and tonight, every secret had teeth. What made her stay in this sprawling fortress, where the echoes of laughter turned into screams? It wasn't just the shadows dancing across the walls, or the distant sound of rustling that sent shivers down her spine. No, it was something far more sinister and enchanting, an unusual energy that prickled her skin, making her heart race like a freight train. Every corner of this grand estate held something hidden and dreadful, waiting to pounce. The girl could feel it, like a lump in her throat she couldn't swallow away. The night was impossibly still, broken only by the rustle of the curtains swaying in a soft breeze. Suddenly, a crash echoed from the other side of the hall. She froze, eyes wide, breath caught. Was it just her imagination, weaving together the sounds of the mansion? Or could it be something more? She glanced at the door, fear prickling her skin. The whispered tales of what lurked behind those walls rushed back, stories of fortunes made and lost, of a millionaire who appeared at midnight only when called by the desperate. Then, in the flickering light of the chandelier, she heard it, a soft, low voice murmuring her name. "Help me!" It was a voice that felt like ice slipping through her fingers, enticing and terrifying. She trembled, unsure if she should beckon or run. But the instinct to uncover the truth that hid in dark corners, wrapped in mystery, pulled at her. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A flicker of hope shot through her like lightning. Could salvation be near? Or was this millionaire a part of the sinister tales woven into the fabric of the house? As the whispers grew louder, she felt the walls closing in, the rich velvet drapes pressing down like heavy spirits. What awaited her at the end of this haunting path? Would she dare to find out, or would the midnight hour swallow her whole? Her heart thumped loud in her chest, a frantic drumbeat drowning out the night. The voice twisted around her, beckoning yet warning. Help me! It drifted through the hall, wrapping around the edges of her mind, urging her to move. With trembling hands, she clutched the bear tighter, a flimsy shield against whatever darkness prowled the corners. Slowly, she crept toward the doorway, each step tentative as the floorboards creaked beneath her. The mansion felt larger and more menacing than ever, shadows creeping forward like hungry ghosts. She bit her lip, thoughts racing. Was it a trap? What awaited her outside the safety of her plush carpet? The voice, still so hauntingly sweet, echoed again. Help me! It pleaded, resonating through her, flooding her with determination. What if someone was truly suffering? What if this millionaire wasn't the perilous figure she'd heard about, but rather someone who could finally provide her with a lifeline? Pushing the door open, she stepped into the dimly lit hallway. The air was thick, almost suffocating. The chandelier above cast eerie patterns on the walls, flickering like it had a life of its own. She moved forward, compelled by invisible strings, glancing nervously at every darkened corner. Suddenly, a gust of wind swirled through, snuffing out the delicate light of the chandelier. She gasped, plunging into near-total darkness, panic rising. The whispers grew louder, but they morphed, echoing with malevolence now. Alice felt as if she were standing on the edge of a precipice. Don't be afraid, the voice crooned, sounding closer. But fear gnawed at her. Why should she trust it? With trembling hands, she pressed against the wall, searching for a way to calm her racing heart. The mansion held too many secrets, and each one bathed in a red flag. Then, out of the abyss, rays of silver light shimmered, illuminating the hallway ahead. A figure stepped into the glow, a man draped in shadows, his smile stretching in a way that felt jarring against the darkness. The essence of wealth clung to him, but so did something darker, more unsettling. His eyes glimmered like satin, cold yet somehow magnetic. "Are you lost, little girl?" he asked, his voice a velvet whisper. It sent chills crawling down her spine. Who was he? I heard someone call for help," Alice stammered, fighting to keep her voice steady. She wanted to run, to escape the air thick with menace. A flicker of uncertainty crossed his face. "Such brave little souls often hear things they wish they hadn't," he replied, and the way he looked at her, part fascination, part hunger, made the fear blossom fully in her chest. Did he know? Did he lie? "What do you want?" she asked, desperation edging her tone. With a slow, deliberate step forward, he leaned closer. "Just the truth, my dear. And perhaps your company." His smile widened, the shadows dancing around him like loyal pets. Alice's heart pounded, and in that moment, she felt her innocence hovering on the brink. Would she be able to uncover the truth, or would this midnight encounter trap her in a web darker than she ever imagined? As she held her breath, the air shifted, heavy with questions, and she realized the mansion held its breath too. Was it the promise of salvation she sought, or was it merely a mirage, leading her closer to despair? In that moment of uncertainty, the floor beneath her feet trembled ever so slightly, sending a jolt up her spine. What lay beneath the surface of the mansion's grandeur? What terrible truth awaited her just beyond the veil? The walls flickered, momentarily alive, as she stared into the reflection of the bizarre figure who would soon reveal whether she was the heroine of her own story or just another sacrifice in his dark tale. And before she could make her decision, a thunderous crash rippled through the hallway, sending shivers along her spine. What secrets hid in the dark, waiting to be unleashed as the clock drifted toward the brink of chaos? The noise reverberated through the mansion like an earthquake, shaking Alice to her core. She stumbled backward, awareness narrowing until it was just her and the chilling figure before her. The man's smile didn't waver, if anything, it grew sharper, a predator feasting on her fear. What was that? She breathed, voice barely above a whisper, but the frantic drum of her heart drowned out even her own words. She knew she should turn and run, but each second felt like a suspended moment, trapping her in that horrifying reality. Curiosity often leads us toward the darkest corners, he purred, leaning closer until she could see the faint gleam of malevolence in his eyes. It would be wise to listen to the warnings, dear Alice. Her breath hitched, a lump forming in her throat. "I want to help whoever's in trouble," she managed. "Do you?" His gaze pierced through her, dissecting her intentions like a surgeon. "Or do you want to play the righteous hero, instead of facing your own weakness?" In an instant, the shadows around him pulsed, as if alive, grasping at her ankles, tugging her closer. The air turned heavy, thick with secrets and bitter despair. "Enough games!" she shouted out, surprising herself. "If this is a trap, if you're hiding something, just say it." He chuckled softly, the sound curling through the air like smoke. "Ah, little girl, it's not a trap. It's merely a game, and you're the piece de resistance." In that moment, Alice understood. This wasn't about her bravery or noble intentions, it was about control. He wanted to see how far she'd bend before breaking. Another crash reverberated through the hallway, followed by a shattering sound. Glass. It pulled her attention momentarily, and she glanced down the corridor, where shadows writhed like angry serpents. What was lurking out there? "Stay," he murmured, wrapping his fingers around her wrist, his touch chilling against her skin. "You're not ready for the truth just yet. Let go of me," she yelled while battling against his grip. But the more she struggled, the more he tightened his hold. She dug her heels into the floor and summoned every ounce of strength. In a burst of panic, she jerked free and stumbled backward, fear propelling her along the hallway. As she turned to escape, the lights flickered back to life, revealing a door ajar at the end of the hallway, a sliver of yellow light spilling out like a beckoning finger. It felt dangerous, yet somehow comforting. A way out, possibly even a way to the person who had called for help. Chasing that last thread of hope, she sprinted toward it, but he was quicker. "Oh, Alice," he cooed, his voice delicate yet coated with a sinister undertone. "There is something you should know before you go rushing into the bright light." She halted only for a moment, torn between fear and curiosity. "What do you mean?" With a cruel smile, he whispered, "What if the one in need is not who you think they are?" Her heart sank, dread pooling in her stomach. Was she about to pry open a door to a horrifying truth? Imagining the horrors that could lie behind that door made her pulse quicken. Desperation clawed at her throat, forcing her forward. With each step, she felt the weight of his predatory gaze, an inescapable force urging her to halt. "Choose wisely, Alice," he said softly, the shadows swirling around him like midnight fog. "This could change everything." The last word hung between them, thick with implications. What choice could she make in a place where every instinct warned her back? Alice reached for the door, fingers trembling, knowing that whatever lay beyond could lead her toward salvation or unimaginable horror. But would she be brave enough to uncover the truth, knowing it could tear her world apart? As the doorknob began to turn, the walls whispered secrets from decades past, and she knew the clock was ticking. What awaited her on the other side? Was it a chance to save a life, or would it entrap her in the very darkness she sought to escape? The door creaked open slowly, revealing the dim glow within. A room filled with dusty furniture and foreboding shadows greeted her, not the safety she had hoped for. The air inside felt heavy, as if it was suffused with forgotten memories, just waiting for a chance to spill out. Alice stepped inside, her heart racing like a wild drum. "Hello," she called, but her voice echoed back, swallowed by the thickness of the silence. The moment she crossed the threshold, she felt the weight of inevitability pressing down on her shoulders, a sense that whatever lay ahead was nothing she could prepare for. As her eyes adjusted, the room began to take shape. Old photographs adorned the walls, their faces smirking or grimacing in the flickering light. She froze at one photo in particular, a young girl, wide-eyed and innocent, her smile bright yet haunting. It struck a chord deep within Alice, a familiar face that stirred something lost yet vivid in her memory. "Is someone here?" she whispered, halting as a shiver trickled down her spine. The feeling that she was not alone clung to her like a shadow. Then it came, a soft voice, barely above a whisper, reverberated from a dark corner. "Help me!" Alice turned sharply, adrenaline rushing through her veins. In the corner stood a figure, bound and barely discernible through the gloom. "Who are you?" she exclaimed, moving closer, her pulse pounding in her ears. "Please, it's me." The figure gasped, their voice laced with desperation. As Alice inched nearer, her heart plummeted. The voice, a mix of fear and urgency, instantly sent cold dread coursing through her body. It was a voice she thought she had forgotten. "Lily?" The name barely escaped her lips, confusion and disbelief mingling in a tumultuous wave. "Is that really you?" The girl's eyes glistened with tears. "Alice, you have to help me. I didn't want to come back here, but I had no choice. It's coming for me." Behind Alice, the door slammed shut, a deafening bang that rattled the very floor beneath her. Panic surged as the mansion seemed to come alive. Shadows twisted, whispering in an undecipherable language, drumming against the walls like an impending storm. It felt like the house itself was holding its breath, waiting for something monumental to unfold. "What do you mean?" Alice asked, her mind racing as she searched for the meaning behind Lily's words. "What's coming?" "They know I found out," Lily pleaded, her voice cracking. "They won't let me go, not after what I saw, not after finding the truth." Alice's heart raced with dread. What truth? What had Lily discovered? Each question sent daggers of fear into her chest. She couldn't shake the thought, was the girl really who she claimed to be? Could this be another twisted game designed by that man, a low growl echoed from the shadows. Alice stiffened, the air thickening with a heavy, vile presence. "We need to hurry." Just as Alice turned back to the door, she realized it was no longer an option. No escape, no turning back now. The walls seemed to shift, the shadows closing in, whispering secrets that made her skin crawl. "Lily, what is happening?" Alice yelled, desperation clawing at her throat. The lights flickered ominously, casting an eerie glow over Lily's terrified face. "You have to decide, Alice. It's not just my life. If we don't stop it, it will consume everything." Alice could feel the darkness swirling around her, its tendrils creeping closer. Doubt gnawed at her mind. Was she prepared to confront whatever horror this was? But how could she let fear dictate her actions when someone else was begging for help? Suddenly, a new sound cut through the tension, a low rattle near the window, something crashing through the glass. Alice's heart skipped. Was it rescue or something worse lurking outside? "You have to choose," Lily cried, the urgency flashing in her eyes. "Before it's too late." Torn between a past that refused to release its grip and a dreadful present tightening around her, Alice knew she had to make a decision. Would she let fear paralyze her or embrace the unknown, risking everything to save the girl who once meant the world to her? The question hung in the air, charged with consequence. Time was running out. What awaited her, just beyond the revelations? Alice's mind raced. The shadows closing in huddled together like a storm, dark and menacing. She could feel their cold breath on her neck, a reminder that time was slipping away like sand through fingers. The rattling at the window intensified, a stark contrast to the silence that had swallowed her moments before. "Lily, where do we go? What do we do?" She could see panic flash across Lily's face, the girl's innocent eyes reflecting the chaos surrounding them. Alice had always been the protector, ready to fight, but now all she felt was helpless. "It's coming. We have to find the basement. There's something down there, something they don't want you to find." Lily's voice pierced through the heavy air, each word saturated with urgency. The window shattered with a violent crack, shards exploding inward. A glimpse of something dark and slithering slipped through the opening, the very embodiment of Alice's worst nightmares. When she heard a low, guttural growl, her heart pounded harder. "Run!" Alice commanded, darting forward. Armed with only her determination, she took Lily's hand. The sensation of togetherness offered a flicker of strength against the encroaching terror. They raced through the room, weaving through the furniture while the shadows began to crawl toward them, hungry and relentless. "Which way?" Alice gasped, glancing around frantically. "Down the hall, to the right." Lily shouted, fear tightening her features. Their steps echoed off the walls, a drumbeat of desperation. They turned the corner just as a figure broke from the gloom, a silhouette that towered over them. Alice stumbled backward, holding tightly to Lily. It was a man, tattered clothes, eyes burning with a manic fervor that sent chills skittering down Alice's spine. "Get away from her!" he roared, his voice punctuated by a lunatic's laughter that reverberated through the hall. Lily squeezed Alice's hand, her grip tightening. "He's the one. He'll make sure we don't escape." Before they could react, the man lunged. Alice pushed Lily aside, diving to the ground as the man's arm swung above her head, striking the wall with a sickening thud. The sound echoed, a harsh reminder of their precarious reality. "Keep moving!" Alice managed to shout, scrambling back to her feet. They kept running, their breaths ragged and filled with dread. With every corner they turned, the shadows seemed to thicken, coiling expectantly around them. Panic escalated, feeding the oppressive dark. "There!" Lily pointed toward a door at the end of a long corridor. "That leads to the basement." They reached the door, the hinges rusty and old. Desperate hands fumbled with the handle until it yielded with a creak. As they stepped inside, a chill enveloped them, stinging their skin. Behind them, the man's furious cries echoed off the walls, followed by a gut-wrenching silence. They stood still, their bodies trembling with fear. "Do you think he has gone?" Alice whispered, pressing her back against the wall, listened intently. "No, he is still coming. We're running out of time." Lily's eyes darted around the dimly lit basement, panic rising in her throat. In that moment, Alice felt it again, a weight pressing heavily in the air. "What are we looking for, Lily? You need to tell me." Lily hesitated, her face clouded with fear. "I don't know everything, but behind that wall I think there is something he wants to keep hidden. We have to get there fast." As they made their way deeper into the basement, every inch was suffused with a sense of foreboding. The deeper they went, the more Alice could feel a looming presence emerging from the shadows, a force that thrummed with an ancient power. Then, a rumbling echoed, shaking the very foundation beneath them. Alice's heart raced. What was that? Lily's eyes widened, terror etching itself deeper into her features. "It's him, he has found us." Everything around them plunged into darkness as the vibrations continued, drowning out any remaining hope. They were trapped, ensnared in a downward spiral with nowhere left to run. Would the truth hidden in the basement strike the final blow, or lay the foundation for their escape? As the shadows summoned forth their master, Alice realized she had to confront more than external threats, she had to face the ghosts of her own past as well. The ground shook again, and Alice felt the dread claw at her heart. Time was up. They had already teetered on the edge for too long. What lay behind that wall? And could it save them from the horrors waiting just outside their hiding place? The air thickened, suffocating and tense. Alice could hardly breathe. She pressed against the wall, a desperate attempt to blend into the darkness. "What do we do?" she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Lily's eyes were wide, darting from shadow to shadow. "We find it." Her voice trembled with determination, even as fear creased her brow, but that rumble, it grew louder. Like a heartbeat, thumping through the walls and reverberating in Alice's chest. It was an ominous reminder of their dwindling time. "Where is it?" Alice demanded, scanning the cavernous space. Shadows clawed at them, moving in and out of the dim light like ghosts refusing to leave. "Over here," Lily cried, pointing to a cracked wall at the far end of the basement. Alice hurried toward it, each step echoing trepidation. The wall was old, bricks crumbling, a quiet promise of what lay within. The growl from above echoed again, more feral this time. A chill swept down Alice's spine. They had no time. With trembling hands, Alice started peeling loose bricks, while Lily helped, her short breaths mingling with the dirt they disturbed. "What if it's a trap?" Lily's voice cracked, the doubt creeping back into her mind. "We have to take that chance," Alice replied, gritting her teeth. "We can't just wait to become his prey." The wall creaked, and Alice paused, straining to hear what lay beyond. For a brief moment, silence wrapped around them like a blanket, soothing yet deceptive. Then, a thud. Something heavy crashed above, followed by frantic footsteps, and then laughter, the man's laughter. Alice's heart plummeted. "Hurry!" She forced herself to dig harder, feeling the cool, gritty earth beneath her nails. Suddenly, with one final push, a section of brick gave way, revealing a narrow opening. It was dark, so dark that it swallowed all shapes and sounds. The flickering light from their surroundings barely penetrated. "What if it's nothing?" Lily whispered, fear gripping her throat. "Then we'll find a way to make it something," Alice replied fiercely, her resolve steadying against the panic threatening to overwhelm her. "We have to trust. There has to be something here worth fighting for." Lily hesitated, glancing over her shoulder as the man's shouts echoed ominously from above. Alice reached out, grabbing Lily's hand, anchoring her. "We don't have time for doubt. We go together." With a shared look of determination, they took a breath and squeezed through the opening. The darkness enveloped them completely, a cold hand wrapping around their minds, urging them to give in to fear. As they moved deeper into the unknown, the air grew stale, thick with the scent of mold and secrets. A flicker of panic ignited within Alice, but she swallowed it down. Trusting Lily beside her, she pressed on, each step echoing like a heartbeat in that oppressive void. Then they heard it, a whisper. Soft, melodic, spiraling around them, like a song from another world. It was distant, yet it wrapped around Alice's thoughts, tugging gently. "Did you hear that?" Lily asked, eyes wide with wonder and fear. "It's coming from over there," Alice said, straining to pinpoint the source. The melodic whispers seemed to weave through the shadows, guiding them towards something unseen. With each step, the whispers grew louder, illuminating their way against the encroaching dark. Threads of hope tangled themselves in Alice's chest, but just as quickly, dread clawed back. What if it led them deeper into danger? "Should we turn back?" Lily asked, her voice faltering. "No," Alice said, conviction firing in her heart. "We have to know what's ahead. Something is drawing us here." They pushed forward into the swirling shadows, where the soft whispers formed a strange, harmonious chant. With each step, Alice prayed for strength, feeling the ghosts of her past gathering around her, chanting, beckoning. "What if the truth is more horrifying than we think?" Lily whispered, fear bubbling over once more. "Whatever it is, we have to face it," Alice declared, her teeth clenched. "We can't let him win." Suddenly, the whispers ceased, leaving a deafening silence looming like a thick fog. Then, a chilling voice broke through, sharp as shattered glass. "You shouldn't have come here." Alice froze, dread pooling in her stomach. Who was it? What awaited behind the echoes? As shadows shifted, Alice felt a familiar weight in the air, only this time it was laced with something darker. They were not alone. What horror could be waiting in the depths of the basement? And how would they face the darkness that had been summoned when the truth finally emerged? Alice's pulse raced, each beat pounding like a drum in her ears. "Who's there?" She called out, her voice steady despite the storm of anxiety swirling inside her. A low, warm chuckle echoed from the shadows. "Ah, the brave little girls think they can escape." Lily gripped Alice's arm tight, her knuckles white. "We need to go back," she whispered, horror painting her face. "No," Alice insisted, taking a step forward. "We need to find out what this is." The anger boiling inside her pushed aside the fear. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" The voice laughed again, a sound that slithered through the air. "Why, I want to show you something extraordinary." Alice's heart sank. "Extraordinary?" she echoed, the word tasting bitter on her tongue. "Like what you did to the others?" "That depends." The shadows shifted, and a figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, his features obscured. "Are you willing to listen?" Lily stepped back, trembling. "This is a mistake, Alice. We're playing with fire." "No," Alice said firmly. She had to stay strong, they both had to. "We can't run anymore." The figure took a small step closer, and though his face was still veiled, Alice caught a glimpse of something glistening in his hand, a glimmering object catching the light. It looked almost familiar. "What is that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. His smile widened, and Alice felt the air grow heavier around them. "It's a key, my dear. A key to understanding." Alice swallowed hard. "To what?" "To the truth," he replied, his voice thick with promise. "But I warn you, it may be darker than you expect." A chill ran through Alice as the memory of the laughter and the growls above resurfaced, twisting in her gut. "Why are you down here?" "Because I enjoy playing games," he spoke, stepping into a sliver of light that flickered like a dying candle. His eyes gleamed with malice and glee, holding secrets bound in tragedy. Suddenly, Lily broke the hold they had on each other, stepping back into the shadows. "This isn't right, Alice. We don't belong here." "Maybe not," he said, a jeer following his words. "But I certainly do." "Don't listen to him," Lily shouted, her voice sharp. He's just trying to manipulate us. Alice shot her a glance. I know, but he has something we need. Something that could help us understand what's really going on. The man laughed again, a cruel sound echoing in the cavernous space. Listen to her, Alice. Running may be your only salvation. You can't handle what lies in the truth. Tell us your truth, then, Alice challenged, her voice clear and unwavering. In time, child. His grin was terrifying, a predator toying with prey. But first, you will have to prove your worth. What do you mean? Lily's fear was evident, her breath quickening as she stepped back against a wall. Simple. He extended the hand holding the key, a silver object glinting ominously. Solve the riddle, and it will unlock the door to every answer you seek. Fail and the shadows will claim you. A pulse of adrenaline shot through Alice. We'll accept your challenge. What's your riddle? Ah, clever girls. Here it is, the more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? The air thickened with tension. Alice blinked, mind racing. What was the answer? Could they really trust him enough to play along? What do we do? Lily demanded, her voice trembling. We can't stay here. You know that. I'm not taking us back, Alice said firmly. Not until we finish this. We'll outsmart him. Together. The shadows seemed to close in tighter, the whispers of uncertainty creeping back into Alice's mind. Time's running out, the man taunted. Think quickly. As the words hung in the air, a horrible thought struck Alice. They had to face whatever darkness awaited. Suddenly, a chilling realization washed over her. Footsteps. She gasped. That's it. The answer is footsteps. The figure's smile faltered for a heartbeat before it returned, sharper. Clever, but will it be enough? Then a sound, the door above banged open, and the laughter exploded again. This time, it was filled with a twisted excitement, promising chaos. Time's up. Panic surged, and Alice's heart raced even faster. What lay behind that door? Would they uncover the truth, or would it lead them straight into oblivion? The clock was ticking. Alice's heart hammered against her ribs as the sinister laughter ricocheted off the damp walls. The shadows were alive, twisting and writhing as if they had a mind of their own, hungry for something, perhaps for her and Lily. Footsteps, she repeated, her breath catching in her throat. But was it enough? The figure stood before them, shrouded in darkness, a mocking grin curling his lips. Very clever, he purred, leaning closer, the glimmering key swinging gently from his fingertips. But this game, dear Alice, is far from over. Lily edged closer to Alice, her wide eyes shimmering with fear. We have to get out. Now. She urged, glancing towards the far-off door, the one that seemed to echo the laughter of unseen horrors. What if he is telling the truth? Alice felt an insatiable pull, like a moth drawn to flame. The idea that answers could lie behind those doors was intoxicating. What if we can actually understand what happened? Or it could be the end for us both. Lily's voice quipped, urgency knocking on her every word. Isn't that what he wants? Alice pointed at the man, who was preparing to respond, the shadows of his form flickering ominously. He doesn't want to let us go. He wants to keep us here, in this nightmare. Ever so perceptive. The figure's voice dripped with sarcastic delight. But you see, I'm not the only one throwing the dice here. You have a say in your fate too. What do you mean? Lily's voice trembled. I crave the truth, he said, an unsettling gleam in his eyes. But first, we must see if you are brave enough to face the whispers of your own souls. Alice's stomach twisted. What do you want us to do? The figure pointed toward the opening that led deeper into the shadows. Step forward. You will uncover the stories hidden within the darkness. But beware, every truth comes with a price. A shiver crawled down Alice's spine. The narrow passageway was so dark, she could almost feel it pressing against her. We can't go in there. Or you can embrace the fear, unlock the door, and let the truth set you free. Or stay here forever, your fate sealed. It is merely a decision, he murmured, his tone smooth as silk. Alice bit her lip, her heart pounding like a war drum. What do you think, Lily? There's no telling what's waiting for us, she whispered, her voice shaking. What if we don't make it back? Then we fight. Alice said, desperation fueling her anger. We can't give in to fear. We have to try. Lily hesitated, the conflict etched on her face. The figure, sensing the tension, let out a low, satisfied laugh. Oh, how delightful. Fear mixed with courage. Such a potent combination. Alice took a deep breath, steeled herself, and moved toward the dark entrance. With every step, the shadows wrapped around her like icy fingers. Just as she turned back to grab Lily's hand, the laughter erupted in a cacophony of terror, echoing behind them. Time is ticking, girls. Embrace the chaos, or let it consume you. With a final glance back, Alice asked, Are you with me? Lily swallowed hard, her eyes flickering towards the engulfing darkness and then back to Alice. I'm with you. As they ventured deeper into the shadows, Alice's heart raced at the thought of what awaited. They were about to uncover the truth, but at what cost? The ground beneath their feet rumbled, and a primal scream erupted from the darkness ahead, sending tremors through them both. Stay close. Alice shouted, feeling her pulse quicken again. But the voice that came next was eerie, chilling. You think you can confront the truth alone? It seeks you, and you have no idea what you're about to unleash. The air grew dense, pressing down on them like a weight, and Alice felt the walls of the dark passageway close in. What monstrous truth waited for them? Would they survive the revelations that lay ahead, or would they be swallowed whole? Alice could sense they were on the edge of something horrible and transformative. As darkness enveloped them, a chilling question lingered in the air. What if the truth wasn't what they expected? Alice's heart thudded in her chest as the darkness enveloped them. Shadows danced, their edges curling like whispering secrets. The walls closed in, the weight of the air pressing against her skin, making it hard to breathe. She squinted ahead, trying to pierce the inky blackness, but her eyes betrayed her, revealing only the flickering hints of motion. Lily's trembling hand clutched Alice's tightly. We shouldn't have come this way, she hissed, her voice steeped in panic. It's too much. We have to keep going, Alice insisted, her resolve beginning to waver under the strain of the eeriness surrounding them. We can't turn back now. We need answers. I need answers. With every step, the murmurs grew louder, swirling around them as if the very shadows were whispering secrets. Alice felt cold dread seep into her bones. What if she started, but the question hung like a lead weight, unvoiced and heavy. What if what? Lily pressed, her grip tightening. What if the truth is worse than we imagine? Alice swallowed her fears. Her mind raced with the possibilities, each more horrifying than the last. Better than being trapped here forever, Lily shot back. We just need to keep moving. They reached a fork in the passage, lit by an unsettling glow that flickered like dying embers. One path appeared to twist upward, while the other descended into a stale and oppressive silence. Which way? Alice asked, her eyes darting between the two choices. The figure's laughter echoed in her mind, a taunting reminder that their decision mattered. Every truth comes with a price. Let us just pick one, Lily urged, her voice shaking. The longer we stand here, the worse it gets. Alice's instincts screamed at her to turn back, but deep down, the quest for knowledge tugged at her. She took a deep breath, about to choose when a sharp whisper pierced through the silence. Help! The faint voice wove through the dark like a lifeline. Alice froze, her heart racing. Did you hear that? Hear what? Lily replied, eyes wide and wary. Someone needs help. Probably just the darkness playing tricks, Lily said, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her fear, but Alice felt determined. No, this is different. It's coming from down there, she said, pointing to the descent. She felt it, a connection, a surge of urgency that felt almost magnetic. Don't, Alice. Lily pleaded, but Alice was already moving. She stumbled forward, called to by the voice that echoed in her ears, sharp and desperate. Each step into the abyss felt heavier, as if the shadows themselves were trying to pull her back. Please help us. The whisper grew stronger, echoing her own fears, some long-forgotten memory clawing its way back to the surface. Alice, please don't. Lily's voice trembled, receding behind her. But Alice pressed on, the darkness swallowing her whole. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shifted violently, sending both girls tumbling forward into the shadows. With a scream, Alice reached for Lily, but the pull of darkness split them apart. She cried out, the sound swallowed by the oppressive gloom. Lily. Alice's voice rang out, desperation fueling her. A blinding light flared to life in front of her, illuminating a figure cloaked in shadows, the same sinister stranger, his eyes glinting hungrily. Welcome, Alice. His voice slithered through the air like silk, taunting. The truth lies just beyond, but would you pay the price? She struggled to her feet, frantic thoughts racing through her mind. She had to find Lily, but what sacrifice awaited her? Come and see, the figure beckoned, the shadows shifting to reveal a door weathered and ancient, trembling as if alive. Open it, and the truth you crave will be revealed. But I warn you, child, some truths can shatter reality. She stood on the precipice, torn between the fear of what lay behind that door and the desperate need to save her friend. What was waiting for her? Would she step forward to confront the truth? Or would the shadows consume her and the answers remain lost forever? As she hesitated, the question echoed in her mind: could she stand the cost of knowing? The door loomed before Alice, a jagged portal to an abyss of truth. In that moment, uncertainty clawed at her gut as she recalled every shadow whispered in her ears, every story sown through the halls of the haunting mansion. The glimmer of hope tugged at her heart like a soft, pleading voice. She had to know. Alice. Please, don't. Lily's voice trembled from somewhere in the darkness, her fear palpable. I need to do this. Alice shouted back, desperation flooding her words. She could feel the icy fingers of dread creeping closer, wrapping around her as she fought against the panic that threatened to engulf her. Help us. The voice from behind the door echoed again, laced with sorrow and urgency, an urgent plea that lifted her feet off the ground. In that instant, she realized she was not alone in this horror. The very walls held echoes of countless pasts, each one begging for release. She pressed forward, her heart pounding and mind racing. Would opening this door solidify her choice to dismantle darkness, or would it welcome a horror deeper than anything she could fathom? What's the price? She demanded, turning her focus back to the cloaked figure standing ominously beside her. You never told me what it would cost to discover the truth. His lips curved into a sinister smile, revealing teeth glistening like daggers. Simple, dear child. All truths come with consequences. You'll have to choose which piece of yourself you're willing to sacrifice. The shadows grew thicker around them, whispering secrets to one another, their intentions unclear but undoubtedly sinister. Alice caught her breath, the weight of dread coiling tightly in her throat. She thought of all the layers of fear, guilt, regret, and determination that enveloped her. What about Lily? She shouted into the abyss, a reminder of her unwavering bond with her friend. You want to take me, what about her? The figure's response dripped with satisfaction. Her fate is entwined with your choices. Either you both step through this threshold together or she falls deeper into the darkness. Panic surged through Alice, but she summoned the spark of hope within her. She had endured too much to back down now. What did it mean to face your fears? What sacrifices had she already made? Lily. She called desperately, voice echoing through the void. I'm not leaving you. Do it, Alice. You must. Lily, still lost in the darkness, urged with fervent energy. We have to know. Together. With that strength coiling around her heart, Alice grabbed the doorknob and swung it open, letting the blinding light radiate and swirl around her. It felt warm against her skin, chasing away the cold of the shadows for a heartbeat. Inside, the room was filled with ethereal light, casting translucent shapes that danced like memories long forgotten. At the center stood an ancient mirror, reflecting back not only their images but fragments of their lives, the painful memories, the joys, the moments of courage buried under layers of fear. As she stepped over the threshold, each memory surged through her like an electric shock, forcing tears from her eyes. She gasped at the sheer volume of emotion crashing over her, a whirlwind of laughter, heartache, and choices she wished she could erase. But each one held a lesson, shaping who she had become, who she could be. Collect the pieces, Alice, the figure urged, still lurking in the shadows, his voice a whisper of temptation. They are a part of you. Each step toward the mirror felt like an unraveling thread, all leading to Lily. I'm not afraid. Alice cried out, determination igniting her spirit. I won't let you take control of my fear any longer. And just like that, the fragments began to fall away. No longer did they cling to her as burdens, instead, they reformed into shimmering light. She felt the weight lifting from her chest, a heaviness replaced by warmth. Lily joined her side, their eyes locking. Together, she whispered amidst the brilliance, the laughter of the figure faded to a hum, the shadows retreating as the light enveloped them both. This was their truth. The darkness could not hold them if they didn't let it. They were no longer prey to the mansion's twisted history, they were its liberators. Thank you, came a breath, a whisper of gratitude from the memories swirling around them as they entwined with the light, and in that moment, a sense of completion washed over Alice. The mansion shuddered, settling around them like a sigh of relief, as if releasing sighs trapped for generations. The door behind them closed softly, sealing the past, but leaving the way forward open. Are we free now? Lily asked, her voice steady but filled with disbelief. Yes, Alice replied softly, knowing a new chapter awaited them. They had faced the truth and emerged stronger, bound together, ready to carve paths beyond the walls of fear. They stepped forward, hearts united, embracing whatever adventures lied ahead, free to shape their destinies. Thank you for joining Alice and Lily on this incredible journey. Don't forget, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now and be part of this vibrant community. Don't wait even one more second, every click makes a difference.